C'est la radio de Théo.
C'est la radio de Théo.
C'est la radio de Théo.
La radio de Théo.
C'est la radio de Théo.
Good morning, everyone, or good evening, or wherever you are. My name is Frieda Ekotto. I'm a professor at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor in the US, and I teach in 3 different departments: comparative literature, Afro-American African studies, and Francophone studies. And my work centers on questions of race, silence, violence, and legal issues.
Okay, so good morning, Frieda. We have a few questions to ask you. First of all, what inspired you to become a professor in these different domains?
Very good questions. What inspired me to become a professor? I didn't know that I was going to be a professor, actually. I was interested in writing. I've always loved books, and I wanted to just learn how to write. But then in the process, it became clear that I have to do a doctorate degree in order to be able to teach and then to have time to write. But I always wanted to be a writer, and teaching has been rewarding to me because I see so many of my students are doing well around the world. They have good jobs, and some of them are professors, some of them are translators, some of them they work with journalism, they work in museums. So so teaching is rewarding.
We know that you're cultured in various domains such as writing and film. You also have a very interesting background with African roots, and you lived in numerous countries. How would you say that shaped you as a professor, and what influence does it have on your teaching?
Excellent. So I was talking earlier about becoming a world citizen. I feel that, if there was a passport called world citizen, I would like to have it. But yeah, I've lived in many cultures. Growing up a bit in Africa and then in Switzerland has shaped me. And then now in the US, I said earlier that when you move around the world, you see different perspectives. You see things differently. And traveling has opened so many doors for me, and it has shaped my identity as such. I'm more tolerant. I'm more loving and giving because I didn't want to go to India, for example, and then I got 3 invitations to go to India. So finally I decided to go to India. I didn't want to go because I watched documentaries on TV and you see so many poverty. So it was like that when I got there. But it was also different because they were humans. When you see images or so many, I think I felt that people in India were even more poor than people in my continent of Africa. People are very poor here in this continent, but over there, it was a kind of abject poverty. It was really disturbing to me. So when you see all of that, it gives you a different way of looking at the world. And I've lived in so many different countries. I've taught in so many different countries. It keeps shaping my identity. It keeps me rounded, so yeah.
So earlier we asked you about the notion of freedom in the American society. Do you think that this notion of freedom is threatened with the new political changes in America?
First, we have to define what we mean by freedom. To be free, I think we are all born free regardless of who or where we are or who directs or who is our leader. I think what is threatening in America is like the political ideology. Life has changed because, Americans used to be able to do whatever they wanted. And this political leader has changed that. And we see, for example, at universities where education is taking place, there's no longer freedom of speech. University professors used to be free to say whatever they wanted or teach whatever they wanted to teach. But now you can't do that anymore. Yes, it is threatened. And we all have to start thinking about, consequences. When somebody comes and change everything, the way your values and all of that is problematic. So we are thinking about what to do about it.
It is very unfortunate that America, known for its values and freedom, turned out like this. And earlier in the presentation, you did talk about this experience you had in a university where you saw people sleeping outside of the university, homeless. Why do you think that that's the case, and what do you think we can do about it in the future?
Yeah, there's poverty even in America. People think, somebody asked me about the American dream. There's so many poor people. When I started teaching at the University of Michigan, I used to see this bag lady. Bag lady was this poor woman. She had, she used to push this. She went to a grocery store, a card. She put all her things in there. And she used to come and sit in my classes. She loved to listen to me teaching. And the students started complaining that she smelled badly, and they took her away. And I was really sad because I liked having her there, because she wanted to just hear what I have to say. So I talked earlier about how we need to share resources. We don't share resources. That's a problem. Rich people are becoming richer and poor people are becoming poor. And the gap is just increasing. And that's a problem. I feel very fortunate. I know I am privileged. And, I'm paying schools to so many people in my country, people that I don't even know. People found out that, when I'm in the country in Cameroon, in my neighborhood, people come and say, "Oh, we haven't eaten for 5 days." Blah, blah. So then, you help them. That's not what's going to help them. But I took 3 young women from 3 different families where they were begging for money all the time. Because they were very intelligent. I'm paying the school fees. It's costing me $8,000 a year. But I'm very happy because they're doing well. They will be able to help their own families, sustain them. When you want to help somebody, you have to be able to help them in a way that could make them be independent, make them be free from begging, So that's why we need to, anytime I see a poor person, I know how painful that is. And when I eat every day, I know that somebody is not eating, and it makes me sad. So,
It is very interesting that you have a take on this, and as we're talking about social class, I feel like it's also relevant to talk about racial injustice just as much as economic injustice. What is your take on racial experiences in America? You talked earlier during your presentation about this book where 2 characters were of different races, yet it wasn't mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I got this idea from this poet Aimé Césaire. He comes from the Caribbean. Aimé Césaire, he wrote Discours sur le colonialisme, Discours sur le colonialisme, Cahier d'un retour au pays natal, Notebook of the Return to the Motherland. And Aimé Césaire talks about, he influenced me in thinking also about social classes and like Frantz Fanon, the rich on the earth, like we in the continent, we are the rich on the earth because everybody like wants to take advantage of the continent. People are stealing from the continent, making people poor, and then also, and then we are also black people are the most hated people in the world. This is the curse of being black. But at the same time, personally, I remember when I was maybe 10 or 11 years, I was swimming with my classmates and I saw my skin in the water and I saw it was beautiful. And that kept me going. Like, many people in the continent, many black women particularly, they bleach the skin because they want to be white, because the whiter, the better. And, I just love my skin. I just think it's the most beautiful thing. So you also have to be proud yourself to know that, you don't need to change despite the fact that the world doesn't like you. So that is also difficult to accept. And, black people suffer a lot. We have become, that's why my new project is on global blackness experiences. I started going to Brazil to do research on this project. Brazil is one of the countries where they talk about racial democracy. There's no racial democracy there. Poor people are black and they're still very poor. And Brazil is one of the societies that, really kill more black people around the world than the US. People used to think it's the US, but it's Brazil. Brazilian, they kill many, many black people. I remember the first time I went to Brazil, I went to the Afro-American museums and there was a picture of somebody hanging on a tree, lynching. You don't see these pictures anymore anywhere. They were painful. But now they ask them to remove it. They have removed it. It's super painful. Maybe that, they used to hang people, but to see it, it was so violent, But we were talking about earlier about Toni Morrison, who wrote Recitatif. In that short story, when I read it, I was so impressed. Toni Morrison went to her grave with the secret. We still don't know which character is what. Zadie Smith, this British writer, she wrote an introduction to explain this book. She went on and on and on and on and on and on. At the end, she didn't say anything. Toni Morrison wanted us to think about issues of race differently. To understand that we are all humans. I told you the beginning of this book is impressive. The first mother, I'm ashamed to say it, but I will say it. When I started reading the book, the description of the first mother, I thought, I'm sure that's a black character. Then when I read the other one, the mother is like all over, she dances and she's a bit crazy. And I was like, oh, maybe it's that. She confuses you. You don't know. Until the end. She also added disability. We don't talk a lot about disability. There's a character there who has a disability. She can't talk. And these two girls, like, they started beating her up one day. And then at the end of the short story, they realized that she was as vulnerable as they both were. Because at the end of the short story, they meet. They have had children, they are married, and they meet and they start talking about their own issues and regretting that they oppressed the disabled girl and beating her up. And it made them think so much. And that's what Toni Morrison wanted us to understand. There's no difference. We're all humans. We have created those categories and we have to start getting rid of them.
So, talking about these different categories and labels that we've established in our societies to put people in boxes, how do you think we can deconstruct them? So, as a professor, do you think that you've ever had the opportunity to do so through the different things that you teach to your students?
Thank you so much. That's a great question. Yes, I think so. One of my brilliant students right now, she's the head of my department. She's the chair of my department. She went to teach away for 10 years. I would call her and I say, so Benedict, how you doing? She would cry, oh, I'm in Montana. Montana is far. My family can't come here. Her father was from Guadeloupe. Her mother was French. And in fact, her mother was going to pay her a visit, and she passed away in a plane. It was so painful to her, so that distance. And I told her, Benedict, the only thing you need to do is to write, and I will get you out of there. And then when I became the head of my department, I went to the dean and I said, hire this brilliant student. The dean is like, why do you want me to hire your student? I said, because she's brilliant, and she is brilliant. She wrote 2 excellent books, So she is her father is black, her mother is white French, and she's mixed race. And, in France, when you mix race, you are a métis. When she arrived in America, there's a rule, 1 drop. When you have 1 black one, you are black. And she did not understand that for the longest time until, one day it clicked. It clicked to her, and she said, oh, this is what Frieda has been talking. I made her read Black Skin, White Mask by Frantz Fanon. I made her read so many books. And her second book is called Afro Dog, because she traces the history of how they use dogs to attack black people. And she dedicated this book to me. And she said at the beginning, it makes me want to cry. Frieda, everything she has told me. And it was beautiful. It's really emotional.
It is very beautiful that as a professor you feel things so deeply, and you did talk about the notion of love and emotional nudity, and it is very interesting to see you get emotional over a student, and this story is great regardless and beautiful, and so are you in your profession, your culture, your background. It is very interesting to see. I wonder, what is the most grateful thing you are for as a professor? You get to see people, meet people of different backgrounds, and it is very interesting. If you can answer, of course.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm getting so emotional, but I think that I think I've affected many people in my life. The way I teach, the way I am, and the way I'm always trying to reach for a hand in need, because it's important. And I've done that through my life. Other people gave me the hand, so when I needed it, so I return it. It's important to be able to reach out to others when you need, and when they are in need. Yeah. So I think my teaching does that. I have a student who came to visit me the other day with his kids, and I was looking at, I got an email, I'm bringing my family to meet you, and I was like, and then he gave me his name, Nick somebody. I'm like, oh God, I've seen so many students, but then I remember him when he showed up, and he's like, you told me in 89. Can you imagine? It was also beautiful. He told his family, this woman changed my life. I was like, oh, okay. That's what teaching does. Yeah. It was incredible.
So we can see through your character, through the different things that you've told us, that you really put love and humanity forward in your work. So working with different people from different backgrounds, like you said, you've traveled around the world. How has this impacted you as a person?
Oh yeah. It has impacted me a lot. That's why I become so emotional, and I continue to discover the world. I'm very happy I came to Mauritania, because I remember, when I was a child, I heard this country called Nouméa in New Caledonia, and I love the word Nouméa. And I was telling my parents, I want to go to Nouméa. They're like, what would you go do there? Yeah, I just love Nouméa. I was like, how can a country be called Nouméa? So I did go to Nouméa. I flew way up I was in Marseille. I went to New Caledonia, and I went to Nouméa. And I was like, oh, okay, it's just a country. But, I wanted to go there, so I did. But I think, the more I go around the world, in September, I was in Istanbul. I delivered a keynote there, and I also every time I discover a new culture, I'm like, the world is so rich. We could all benefit from the world if we don't kill each other all the time. The world is full of wonders, full of beautiful things. And I think, so I take my travels, I take my experiences to my classroom, right? And I think my students, enjoy the way I teach. I let them be, but I'm very demanding because I want excellence. They know that. You can choose any kind of topic that you want to work on, but I want excellence. All my students are excellent. There's a student who translated my book, Korean, and then Lindsay they were both my students. And, Lindsay teaches at the American University in Washington, and the other one teaches in Boston, at the university there. And they're both brilliant. So, and they talk about, oh my God, Frieda, she's all nice and all of that, but if you bring her bad work, she will send you back to your desk. And I do, because it's important to do good work.
It is very interesting that you spoke about your experiences in different countries with your students. I would like to ask how it was for you when you came here to Mauritania. Was it something you expected? What was your initial image on this country?
When my niece told me, Tata, we're going to Mauritania, I was like, that's kind of far. It's Mauritania. I was like, okay. I know the filmmaker, Abdurrahman Sissako. I've sent many students to work with him, and I've talked to him a lot too because he has agreed to work with my students. He always say, oh, one day you should go visit Mauritania. I thought it was all desert. I've been to the desert in Morocco, so I thought here too is going to be the desert. I was like, so I had all this light clothes I brought because I thought it was going to be so hot. I won't be able to breathe. That's a stereotype I had in mind. But so far the weather has been pleasant. And, I also it's the quietness. It's quiet, it's livable. The people are nice. And you have lots of seafood. I love seafood. So only for that, I'm going to come back here. No, I'm going to come back to just visit again because, my niece is going to be here maybe until 2028. Yeah, I've been happy. I got here on Monday, and I'm leaving on Monday. Unfortunately, I have to go to Nairobi. But I've been very happy here. It has been a wonderful experience. And, also meeting young people like you, it gives me hope. I also cry because you are our future. You have to know that. I told you that. You guys, you are the ones who are going to save this world. And you have to take it seriously. You will change it. And you women, I've also talked to young women because young women sometimes get discouraged and they're more vulnerable. I was telling her, Nora, don't hesitate. Do what you want to do. The world will accept you and do it well. Do well, do everything well, and the world will embrace you. That's my word for you.
I think we're out of questions now, but it was really interesting to hear everything you had to say, especially with the fact that you have amazing background. You are very cultured and your critical thinking is so beyond what we thought. We would have never guessed that we were going to talk with someone as amazing as you are today. It is so nice to see that there are professors who love what they teach. There are professors, and we do have them in school, but it's also nice to see them that when we get older, we will see teachers like this, hopefully professors. And I just find it very beautiful, and it was really amazing today.
I would like to thank you a lot. Personally, I met you about 2 days ago, and it was a very inspiring experience. Makes me emotional as well, because I wouldn't be able to describe you because you're incredible in everything you stand for and and how open you are to, and how you give everybody the ability to see themselves through you. And I really thank you for giving us the opportunity to get to know you, and for taking the time to get to know us as well. And I hope that the poem that I wrote you will be an expression of
Do
that.
you want to read some of it for the world? I think it would be beautiful.
Okay. So the poem that I wrote for Frieda is called I Met a Woman, to thank her for inspiring me without needing to say much. So, I met a woman, a true one, not a passerby, a presence that aligned the air around her. She looked at me with those eyes, open portals, path to a soul where truth sits without trembling, where softness leaves with a sharp edge, where time itself bows its head. Then she smiled, the gentle harshness of her gold teeth, simple truths wrapped in golden light, great wisdom curved into grace. She didn't speak much at first. She didn't need to. Her energy, intense yet feather-like, whispered loud truths. Her energy carried a force that awakens. And when she finally spoke, her voice, similar to a warm embrace, carved in my mind these words: be inspired by freedom, always do what you want with love. Since then, I've been holding on to her words like a compass, letting them settle in my chest, letting them give me clarity, letting them teach me how to breathe wider. I met a woman, a free spirit, and something in me stood taller, truer. Recognition for a soul I admired before I knew the name of the beholder, for a mirror that I had been impatiently waiting for a reminder of who I want to be.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Oh my God. Oh my God. So beautiful. Thank you. I could not thank you enough. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh, I'm going to cherish that. So yeah, life is, you pass the baton, you know, you like I said, there's an interview of me online, talking about how I came to America without speaking English and how difficult it was. I spoke Low German and French, of course. So I had to learn Spanish and English. It was really hard, but I did it. So, if you go on YouTube, there's that interview, you will see. And I talk about how you have to persevere, like do with love what you want to do. You will be successful, I think, so these are my words for you guys. And don't be afraid. The world is there for you to grow. Yeah. Thank you.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, there's well, exactly.
As Bob Marley said.
As Bob Marley said. Oh, I spoke about Bob Marley this morning. Yeah.
I was so happy.
Yeah.
We're studying that right now in class. Presently.
I have a course on revolutionary sing,
Protest.
Bob Marley is one of them. Protests, like, thinkers. Bob Marley is incredible. Every single word of his.
He's a poet.
He's a poet. Yeah. A philosopher. Stand up for your freedom.
Yeah.
Stand up for your rights.
Yeah.
I remember, when I was learning English, I would repeat those words in my room, stand up. He helped me a lot. I will repeat the words. It's like, yeah.
Right now we're studying, we're doing a unit called Get Up, Stand Up.
Yes.
And it's about reggae.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. You guys have, these are germs here.
Yeah, these are brilliant.
They're brilliant.
Brilliant, this ring here,
Yeah.
brilliant students.
Thank you.
They're all brilliant.
Okay.
C'est la radio de Théo.
C'est la radio de Théo.
C'est la radio de Théo.
La radio de Théo.
C'est la radio de Théo.